Hi besties, I missed you so much, guys. I love doing podcasting, and I was really busy with the launch of the new Drop 2 second collection of Siren Studios. It is now out, and for my podcast listeners, I'm giving a discount code Petrova Podcast 20 for 20% off. I'm a small business, not a big evil corporation, so I don't really have ability to give a lot of discounts, but because I love discounts myself a lot, I decided if I give discounts, I'm gonna hide them around my different social platforms. So there is another discount, but it's hidden somewhere on Instagram, on TikTok. Today I wanna share my thoughts on doing business, on money, passion, hobbies, how to fulfill your potential. Do you need to fulfill your potential, or this is all the pressure of the toxic productivity of a highly capitalistic and money-oriented world? Is that really you, or you just want it? Sometimes we think we want it, but we just want it. We don't actually want it. In my case, I've been doing businesses since I was 7 years old. I have entrepreneurial spirit. I've always had it. I just always felt like I could do it. So that's why I always did it, because it's like you knowing that you are good at drawing, so that's why you're doing it, type of analogy. And I know not everyone has entrepreneurial spirit, but I think everyone wants financial freedom, and that creates the desire to be an entrepreneur for many people. It's just a world where everyone have their own business. You wouldn't have the employers, you wouldn't have the workers who work for your business if everyone has their own business. So that with that logic, it's impossible for everyone to own something or to do something of their own, you will think. But at the same time, you have freelancers, you have people who provide services. They are on their own, and they choose to be on their own because they don't want to work for someone. Like working for someone, I cannot do that. I think I'm a great boss, and I think I'm a great leader. So I would choose a path of trying to create something of my own, but I also will work for someone for sure. I'm only 21. I do plan to work in an American corporation. I'm in data analytics, so I will probably pursue that career to just really check that from my list, I guess, and also to really see how big systems work, to really create a big system, a big ecosystem like all these corporations. It takes hundreds of years or decades, and to really feel and see how it is all inside is also an experience that will help you to create something of your own later. To build some credibility, I'm gonna introduce all the experiences that I've had regarding businesses and projects. When I was 7 years old, I took all of my old toys, and went outside on my street, and I started selling the toys to the car that was passing by. That's the first thing that more or less entrepreneurial I remember, and I would go there every day. She already knew the main key secret of business is consistency. Like every morning I would go out. I think when you also don't think much, you can be more consistent. You don't think that deep. I guess it also comes with its own pros and cons. The certain ignorance keeps you happy and steady and consistent. So I think me being young, I just didn't think much. I would just go there every day. Even if I didn't sell anything that day, I would still come back the next day, which really surprises me. And I made good amount of money. I was 7 years old. I made $40 in rubles. Bitch, I was the rich bitch of my hood. In rubles, that's a lot. Anyways, next I bought 5 bags from Alibaba, found these vendors or AliExpress and took pictures, sold nothing, made Instagram, sold nothing. I was 14 years old or even 12, something like that. I was super young, I was a teenager, that's all I know. Ended up using all these bags myself, and then I had an English school during COVID. Before that I had a drop shipping store. I sold 10 units. I had an e-commerce basically. Also found vendors from AliExpress, and my website was super pretty. Literally spent 3 months on a website, and that's a lesson. Don't spend too much time on something that you don't even know is gonna work. Just do it first, test it out, see if it works out, and then don't let perfectionism destroy your efficiency. It's does not worth it. Perfectionism works until it doesn't. The English school I founded during COVID because I was an English teacher back home for 6 months, and then I started making these little videos 5 common phrases in English for the company I was working for, and the videos was getting views, and I thought, why don't I make my own Instagram? I did it. I worked for it a whole year, and I found teachers, found students, and I just made a little English school. It was all through Zoom, all online. That's when it was relevant because of COVID. I had to close the school after the war happened. I was really passionate about it at first, and then I just lost passion and interest to it. But I just love that experience and cherish those times a lot, and all the hard work that I've done, and that experience is irreplaceable. You cannot read that experience. Knowing and understanding is really two different things. You can read something, some wise phrase, but you will not really fully understand it until you actually experience that through actions. But fashion, I was always passionate about fashion, and at some point I thought I don't belong in fashion for some reason. When I was young, 18, it's just sometimes you think you don't deserve these things or you don't belong in certain areas just because you never had them or never had exposure to them or never had experience with them necessarily. But it's not true. You belong to whatever you think you belong to and whatever your soul gravitates towards. If you ever got into this quantum physics rabbit hole, you might more or less understand that whatever you put your attention towards is gonna be there. You create your own reality basically, and it's so true. Whatever you think you can do and you can be, that's gonna happen if you're gonna keep doing it. For me, doing business is just a way to fulfill my potential, to improve my skills, hidden talents. Creativity is a big part of it for me. I'm a very creative person, and I also do it for my future financial stability. I don't even know what's my passion yet, and that's totally fine. I feel pretty successful for my age, and it's a really fulfilling feeling. Sorry for repeating my words. I go about my days and I stop sometimes and I'm like, wow, you really did this and that. Wow, that's big, Veronica. Be proud. Also, I feel like it's not enough, but I haven't done this and that, but not in a negative way, sometimes in a very negative way. I've been through so much stress and through so much crying, when working on my projects, on achieving my goals. And one thing for me that gives me instability is my unstable sleep schedule that I'm fixing right now. I'm meeting a sleep doctor for like 2-3 weeks now, and I decided to invest in it because it's just getting worse. It's not like my sleep was always worse, but bad, but it's been getting worse and worse every year. And I think what you can do to yourself is try to find the little issues that you have and try to fix them as much as you can, as soon as you can, that stops you from achieving your goals, from really getting there and being successful. For me, that's sleep. I knew if I had stable sleep, I feel like I would be 10 times more successful than now. Another problem for me is a messy room. I read that geniuses and creative people have messy rooms, and that's the excuse that I've been using so far. But I'm convinced clean room is clean mind, and whatever excuse you can find, you shouldn't, and you should try to fix the problem instead of finding all this data and excuses saying that you're actually a genius, not because you don't have a habit of cleaning your room. Do you need to buy courses to do business? No, I never did. I never bought a single course on neither how to create your business, not about like how to do drop shipping or how to create website. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just personally saying you don't have to, but you can, definitely. I believe in courses. I believe that there is great products that really gives you a shortcut, especially if you're not the person that can study themselves. I'm the person that can teach myself everything myself. I went to a very strict school when I was young. I graduated high school really early. I was going to school from 9 a.m. and then I will come back at 6 p.m. and I was 8 years old, and I will study all summer. I just always, in my family, I'm the person that was a good student. My little brother, he's not a good student. He is in sports. He's better in sports. So they don't require crazy things that I was required in academics. But I can teach myself everything. I notice whatever it is, I can, if I really put my mind into it, I can teach myself. If I'm really passionate about figuring it out, I will teach myself. But I prefer finding teachers for things like learning a language. I'm not trying to discredit teaching. Like, teachers are amazing figures. They are those who pass knowledge, and that's why we've been able to come to this evolved and developed society, you could say, if we go really deep. And being a teacher is it's a hard skill, to being able to convey the knowledge in a way that the student will understand it and will even become better than you at it, perhaps in practice, but you are the one who sends the theoretical knowledge that will make them the greatest physicist or chemist or doctor. But in my opinion, if you think you can teach yourself, you don't have to buy these courses. If you know, that's the thing, it's great when you know yourself. I'm starting to really understand myself every year more and more, and it's an amazing feeling when you actually understand how your mind works. That way you also trust yourself more and more. Every time I trust myself more and more because I know myself. I know I'm gonna act like this, not like this. I'm gonna say this, not this. I know I'm gonna be late here, but type of patterns. So if you think you can teach yourself, literally there is many free resources. People ask me, oh, how do you do this? I feel like it seems impossible to people, and I know how it looks from the side, but it's not impossible. Literally, it's so easy. Now is literally the best time to do business. The best time. I'm analyzing myself. I think I had a strong business figure that was also my parent, which is my father. that inspired me to to be entrepreneurial, in my opinion. And maybe it also passed through blood, DNA, whatever. But he would tell me stories. He would get drunk, like coming from like weddings and stuff. He would be like tipsy and drunk, and my father is not the type who talks a lot, but when he's drunk he like tells his whole life story. And he would tell me all the business ventures that he had, that he found, that he will go broke and then he would have money, and then go broke and have money. That's how business is. He would like buy things for cheaper and sell them. And he would go to Belarus, to Minsk, to Moscow, to Ukraine, to Japan, China. I don't know how he had money for these things. It just seems so crazy. But my father is not, his father is not broke, but he doesn't come from like rich, super rich oligarch family, nothing like that, super regular background. But the thing about my father, he never excelled in school. Like people would call him dumb. People would call him dumb and stupid because he could never do school. He could not, like, he had all C for every subject, C, 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 except PE, except the, he had A there. And I think that made him realize, like, I cannot do university, I cannot do school, so he started street smart, as they call it, and just go out there and do something with himself. And he also had a very strict father. His father is the worst tyrant, dictator type of parent. And I think that's how he leveled up, and he would tell all these crazy business ventures, and then I would see how the world is evolving with technologies, and 2 + 2 = 4. For me, it was like, he really inspired me. So I feel like if one advice I give you, find your business figure inspiration. Find the person that you look up to. If it's not your father, if it's not your mother, if it's maybe that's your uncle, maybe that's your auntie, maybe it's someone that you watch on TV, maybe it's someone from YouTube that you really know. I think it's stronger when you know that person, when you know them in person. And ask them questions if you know them in person. Really like see that they've done it, and use them as your inspiration and motivation to start that journey. And now is the easiest and the best time to do business. For my father, it took like 15 years to like get his business going, and now he has to maintain it, and he works every day still to maintain it. I think his way of doing business literally is so old-fashioned, but it's still pretty successful. The business is going, it's still making money. 15 years it took him. Now it can take you 10 times less time to create a business, to start the business, and to maintain it. And then you can sell the business. I feel like that's the best. You make a business and you can sell it, and then you make another one. And then you become angel investor. Literally perfect like path. Angel investors are people who they usually are the ones who have their own business and they became like millionaires, and now they became an angel investor, and they find little businesses to invest into of their own money. So if someone invests in you who's an angel investor, if you lose the money from the business, if you lose their money, you don't have to like pay them back. Of course, there might be strings attached, but that's the easiest way to passively earn money, is to invest in businesses when you have money. Like just think about it. You got the money, how can you maintain it? You invest in 10 businesses and one of them hits. That's how they do. That's how angel investors work. And it's someone's passion, it's someone's drive, it's someone's else dreams. It's easier like that, because at one time you will burn out. You will be like, I just want to chill and do nothing. You wouldn't want to like pursue passion in terms of business. Maybe your passion would be like drawing, dancing, making music, but in terms of business, you will run out of passion. So what you do, you invest in other people's passions. And what makes me sad, I would say, in the world that we live in, is how money oriented it is, how the consumerism is just only growing and growing. There is nothing necessarily bad. I'm not saying please fuck, like I know already, I see like communist fucking comments coming in. I'm just saying that this wise man said capitalism without socialism is fascism. And I was like, what does he mean by that? Why would he say that? I still don't fully understand that phrase. Honestly, I'm just sharing what I have in my mind. But what makes me sad, and I see that in every country, I'm not saying it's America, okay, I'm seeing it everywhere, is that everything is money oriented. People will sacrifice talent, efficiency over talent, you know. It's more important to be effective and to be profitable every year. You have to be more profitable than the last year over the enjoyment or over the creativity and the passion and just the process of it. Does everything have to be profitable? Not profitable. I mean, obviously business have to be profitable to be successful. Excuse me, what I mean is, does everything have to be bigger and more than last year? Does everything have to have millions and millions of dollars? Obviously from business perspective, yes, but from human perspective. For example, models had to stop doing creative catwalks and start doing same robot-like catwalks because the business people behind the fashion brands, they said the people are paying more attention to the model, not to the piece, when they are doing that. And I just thought, wow, like, are you really so greedy that you had to stop the models from being creative and force them being like robots just because you think the audience will pay more attention to the model than to the piece of clothing and give you less sales? Obviously, I understand it from business perspective totally. I would want to make more money, obviously, but this pattern is becoming so toxic at this point and becoming very normalized. If you have seen, I believe it's called Social Dilemma, the movie on Netflix, you know, you're able to tag people on social media now, not because, wow, like I can tag my friends, so fun. They do that so that you stay on the phone more, so that you come back to your phone. That's the incentive that they make all these little features, so that you stay on the phone more and more. So that, you know, because the way the logic is, oh, if you see that your friend tagged you, you're more likely to go on your phone, so you're more likely to spend time there, so the Instagram and Facebook will make more money. That's how they think. But to us, it's presented, wow, we gave you another very cool feature. And I can joke around about it and say, yay, like it's so utopian and so technological, we love it. But if you really think about it, it's just very sad, and it makes me sad that we live in such a greedy world. And greed is one of the sins, as they say, and we really are falling into that. We feel like money, again, it's the consumerist mentality. We feel like we need this, we feel like we need that, we feel like we need this lamp that has 5 shades, we feel like we need this jewelry, we feel like we need, and we really need that. We really wow, like I really need this diffuser, I really need this type of TV, only this type of computer. Obviously we love these things, they are so cool and they're so nice, but they are feeding off of our more seductions, not needs that make us better. It's like creating 100 types of different chocolate. It's not really good for you. It's more like a nice, not even necessity, it's a seduction. If the companies and businesses were focusing more on the society, on the people, making something that actually benefits their well-being mentally and physically, maybe we would have been living in a totally different world, where the world where greed was overthrown by good forces, I guess. So the more we consume, the more we feel like we need it, and the more we consume, so the more we consume, the more we consume. It's like Amazon is the whole definition of consumerism. It's a genius business, obviously. It creates a platform where you can get yourself any type of goods that you want in like 1-2 days, and that allows you to want more things because they're so accessible. You naturally allow yourself to want more because they're so accessible. So it's consumerism that's enhancing itself. So that business model enhancing and improving itself just from the customers that are being exposed to it, and it's like feeding the consumerism. We always are so stressed. We always feel like we need money, we need that, we need this, just so that at the end you take a vacation to go to the beach, but you could have gone to the beach from the very beginning. The beach is free, the water is free. Or when people say, oh, I could never travel, I need so much money to travel, you really don't. Unless you're very broke and poor. I know there's a lot of people who are very poor and cannot afford a lot of things and are living from paycheck to paycheck. But to travel, okay, if you're in America, a lot of things are very far. Like America seems to be more isolated from the east, but here nearby you have South America, okay? You have Mexico right under you. It will take you $200 on a ticket, and then you can get yourself Mexico is super cheap. Like with the American bills, dollar bills, a lot of places are very affordable. Also, I see people saying, oh no, I have to get rich first, I have to get financially stable first, and then I'm gonna travel. I also thought the same, but then I realized, wait a fucking minute, I'm not gonna be 21 and travel. I'm never, like, well, I'm gonna travel when I'm 30, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be, and you can never take this time back. And all this time you were chasing money that you went broke anyways, type of vibe. I feel like it doesn't, the chase for money worth it, but it's not. It's worth it if you don't sacrifice your life. Don't sacrifice your life, still live, still go out every day, still do hobbies. I'm gonna order oil paintings. So my sleep doctor, he said, you should find some hobby that relaxes you before sleep, and I always wanted to paint and to draw. I loved doing it when I was a kid. Maybe that's a way for me to connect with my inner child, but also I really love art. Art just makes me it makes you feel a certain way, and just really makes everything make sense to me, the whole existence of us, that it's really for nothing but for something. I don't know if this makes sense at all. But art to many people is just bullshit, right? It's nothing. Like why it costs so much, or like why people do that. It feels weird. But once you see art in person, to stand to speak almost, and it makes you feel these different emotions that makes you question life and things, and you just appreciate it. So that's how I can explain it. But I really love to go to the art galleries now. There is just a lot of art galleries in Miami, and they're free. And so I would say not to replace efficiency with enjoyment. I feel like we need to find at least one thing in our life that we don't care if it's going to be successful or effective or not. For me, this is actually podcasting. I'm not promoting my podcast like on 100 different social platforms. I don't care if my podcast is going to be, I don't care for it to go big. I actually will want it to keep simple. That's why I decided I'm going to stop trying to do a video format of the podcasting where I sit down and record myself, because it just takes a lot of time. And right now I'm like in my bed and just recording this podcast with my phone and my little headphones. But if I record myself, I have to put the camera, lighting, do makeup, and then like I don't like how I look maybe, or I have to dress up. It's too much work. Like it kills the passion for me, it kills the enjoyment. I want this to stay purely enjoyment. And when you do business, of course efficiency is really important, but I wouldn't advise anyone to stay locked up in your room and just let it swallow you and let it stress you out. I think you should still live and go out there and just explore yourself, read, do something creative, dance, hang with friends. I wouldn't say to fall into this toxic productivity so much, because at the end you will burn out if you spend so much time isolated trying to create something because you watched Rich Dad Poor Dad, or I don't know, you watched all this Kiyosaki, Miyazaki, Huyasaki, some Brian Tracy, Schmacy, all these white men telling you have to get rich or you're worth nothing type of videos just to waste your life. I feel like just do it, because it opens up your creativity, your potential. You're doing something. It's better than doing nothing. But don't really. I just found myself struggling to keep the balance between life and hobbies, that I will be really stressed a lot of times. So that's my advice. If you do it, still have fun. And I also always still had fun whatever I did. I'm the type of person who sometimes lives too much with one day and doesn't care what's gonna happen tomorrow. Okay, I think this got a little bit depressing, and this is the business podcast. I know you probably have more questions about how to do business. I'm gonna leave it for some other time, because this was freestyle. I didn't plan anything. I didn't write down any notes. I was just speaking from my mind, which I usually always do for all of my podcasts. But I think if I really want to do like advice type of podcast, I should write down my thoughts. Okay guys, I enjoyed talking to you. Please give me some feedback or any of your thoughts. I would appreciate if you share it in my DMs, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, in the comments. And I love you guys. I appreciate every single one of you for being with me.